it's Kristen with Hooks, Books, and Wanderlust, and today I'm here with a tutorial to show you how to add a lattice knot fringe to your crochet or knit fabrics. The lattice knot fringe is this really pretty, it's kind of, it's a type of macrame that is just working with strands of yarn knotted together in a various pattern. And as you see, it makes this really lovely kind of crisscross pattern that's all interconnected and just really pretty, kind of a fancier type of fringe than your standard or traditional fringe. It actually starts the same way as a traditional fringe. You're going to start, you'll have your regular length fringe attached, and then you'll divide that fringe up to make the lattice knot fringe. So the only thing that you have to remember is that you want to make sure you have an even number of fringe attachments here across. So in this case, I've got 12 on the end of this table runner. You can work as many rows as you want. I chose only to work one row of knots. So when I refer to a row, I'm referring to this set of knots here, because this is where I attached my fringe in the first place. But this is my first and only row of lattice knots here. But you can work as many or as few as you want. Well, I mean, obviously you can only work as the fewest number you can make is only one row, like I just did here. But you can make as many as you want. You just have to make sure that you're starting, like the traditional fringe that you start with is long enough that it has a nice long drop length that you're going to be able to knot and then knot again and then knot again as you continue to work your rows. So let's get to it, shall we? Okay, so I'm ready to start working my lattice fringe. I have regular fringe attached to my table runner here, and I am only going to focus at first on the first three fringe pieces, first three fringes. So I've got all the rest of them kind of up and out of the way here. What you're going to do is for each of the first three fringe, you are going to divide them into a left and right leg. And you want to make sure that those are an even number of strands on each one. Try and find that natural part from when you first attach your fringe at the beginning, just to help kind of keep things a little neater and easier for yourself. So once you've done that, I'm going to refer to these as the first fringe left leg, first fringe right leg, second fringe left leg, second fringe right, third fringe left, third fringe right. And then so on when we get to the point where we're ready to do the other ones as well. So similar kind of setup. So the first thing you are going to do is you're going to take the left leg of the second fringe and cross it over the right leg of the first fringe. So the left leg of the second fringe, cross it over the right leg of the first. Then you're going to take the left leg of the third fringe and you're going to cross it over the right leg of the second fringe. Like so. All right, you with me so far? Awesome. Okay, next you're going to take the left leg of your second fringe and you're going to combine it together with the left leg of your first fringe. So I'm going to take my left leg of the second. I'm going to take my left leg of the first. Make sure the ends are lined up. And I'm going to tie a loose knot. Emphasis on loose. You want to be able to adjust them at the end to make sure that they all kind of line up appropriately. Okay. Leaving it loose, just like I mentioned. All right, so now I'm going to do the same thing with the left leg of the third fringe and the right leg of the first. So get those out of the way and then we'll line them up. We're going to make another loose knot. maybe. I'm very slow at this just because I'm slow. I'm sorry. Okay, so I've got my loose knot here. Okay. Now, as you can see, my loose knots are definitely not even aligned a little bit. That's okay. We are going to straighten all of that out when we finish our row. Okay, so now you should be left with the right leg of your third fringe and the right leg of your second fringe. If that's what you've got, then you're ready to start working the fourth. So we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to divide the fourth fringe into 2 equal legs here. I've got 6 strands on each one. Perfect. Now I am going to cross the left leg of my fourth fringe over the right leg of my third, and I'm going to join it together with the right leg of my second. Line up those ends and tie a loose knot. Okay. Okay, so now I should be left with the right legs of my third and fourth fringe. I'm going to pull down the fifth fringe, divide it into 2 equal parts, 2 equal legs here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, I'm going to cross my left leg of my fifth fringe over the right leg of the fourth till it meets up with the right leg of the third. Line those ends up and tie a loose knot. Okay. All right, and you're again left with the right legs of those last 2 stitches. We're going to pull down the next fringe, divide it in half. Make sure I've got the right number here. Yep. Okay. And I'm going to cross it over the right leg of the preceding fringe to combine it with the one before that. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fringes involved. So I'm crossing the left leg of the 6th fringe over the right leg of the 5th to combine it with the right leg of the 4th. And I'm going to again tie a loose knot. Okay. All right, so you're going to just keep repeating that process as you go across the rest of your fringe, and of just pulling down the next one, dividing it in half, combining with the right leg 2 fringes before it. So I'm going to finish off the rest, and when I get to the last 2 legs here, I am going to come back and show you how to finish it off. Okay, so I have finished working most of my first row of knots here, and I am down to the last 2 fringe where I've got the right legs of the 11th and the 12th fringe pieces here. So I am going to go ahead and put those together and tie one last loose knot here. Okay, so now as you can see, my knots are nowhere aligned, but that is why we left our knots kind of loose. We want to be able to go back through and adjust them and try and get them all to roughly the same straight line all the way across. Length, width, I'm not really sure. Length, width, I don't know. Got to be able to laugh at yourself too sometimes. I feel like that's very helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and start kind of just tugging a little bit and seeing kind of where they naturally want to hit. That one kind of needs to go up a little more, so I'm going to pull it out just a smidge. That's better. Okay. And again, I'm not tightening them all the way even just yet. Just small tugs to kind of see where they're going to fall and what ones need to just be tweaked a little bit. So I can push it and pull it, whatever you need to do to get it to line up with all the others here. Okay, once you've done all the tightening on those knots and trying to align them more evenly, and like me having to pull out a couple and redo them, then it's time to put the finishing touch on the fringe. And in my opinion, it makes it just kind of tie it all nicely together. It makes it look a little more professional. I'm going to trim the bottom edges of the fringe to kind of make a nice, neat, straight line. So I'm going to go grab my cutting mat, my rotary cutter, and my ruler, and I will be right back. Okay, so I have my cutting mat out, and I have a rotary cutter, and I have my ruler. And if you are a sewer, you might have these already on hand. If not, then you can certainly pick them up at any sewing store, Joann's, fabric stores, and stuff like that. Wherever you can get sewing supplies. I am going to cut these an inch below my knots. So I've already got my knots all lined up along one of these straight lines here. And I am just going to cut on this side because I feel like I might be borrowing trouble trying to balance my ruler on the knots. So I'm actually going to line my ruler up. Make sure all of the fringe are pointing straight down so you get those straight cuts. So let's just go back through one more time and adjust those. If you don't have these tools, it's not a big deal. Just get yourself a regular old ruler and a pair of scissors. Actually, I might do this. I'm right-handed, so I really don't want to have to cut the other way, but let's see if I can make this work. That looks pretty well lined up. Okay. So I'm going to press hard on my ruler and press all those fringe strands nice and tightly against my mat. And I'm just going to go ahead and run my rotary cutter right along the edge of that ruler. And I'm going slow just to make sure I cut through all those strands because there are a lot of them. Adjust my grip here. Okay. And then take those out of the picture here. And let's see how that looks. Not too shabby. Kind of gives it that straight edge, really kind of gives it that much more professional look to your fringe. So by all means, definitely make sure to go for that. That's it for this tutorial. I hope that you found it helpful, and be sure to hit that like button if you did like it. I am going to be posting a photo tutorial on my blog for this as well, and I will be sure to link that below for you, as well as the tutorial for just your standard fringe. Since I didn't put that part in this video. Like I said, the lattice fringe starts with regular old fringe. So if you don't know how to do that, I will post that below for you and you can view that tutorial as well. yeah, so I think that's all I've got for you. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any tutorials coming up in the future, and so that you always stay up to date. And I do release patterns on my video channel here as well, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later.